Welcome to the Springfield Township Board of Trustees meeting. It is June 9th, 2020 at approximately 5:30 p.m. Mr. Burning, may we please have the roll call?
Yes. Ms. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Burning?
Present.
Mr. Honolaw?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
And would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first thing on our agenda this evening is approval of minutes for the regular work session, which was held May 12, 2020, the regular work session on May 26, 2020, and the special meeting on June 2nd, 2020. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then, Mr. Burning, do we have a financial report this evening?
Yes, you do, Mr. Honolaw. For the month ending May 31st, 2020, the township expenditures were $1,909,873.52, and the receipts were $1,105,518.94. The ending cash balance of $21,256,365.57 includes obligations for expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. I request a motion to approve the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, and update and current revenue and reports for the period ending May 31st, 2020. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and I want everyone to know that financial reports are available at the township offices during regular business hours or on our website 24/7. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Burning. Next, moving on to departmental action and discussion items. Mr. Gilbert, do we have the Township Administrator's report?
Yes, we do. Thank you, Mr. Hunter-Law. I just have a few action items tonight. The first being, it's about that time of year again to set the date and time for the public hearing for the 2021 tax budget. What I'm recommending is and asking for is a motion to set that date and time for July 14th at 5:30 p.m. at the beginning of our next regularly scheduled board meeting. As the board is aware, the tax budget is an annual sort of financial planning document that we use that shows the actuals from 2018, or in this case, 2018, 2019. It shows the actuals from the first half of 20. It shows the estimated expenditures and revenues for the second half of 20, and then also the estimated expenditures and revenues for 21. What that essentially allows us to do is it's sent to the county, and then they set our certificate of resources, which allows us to make our temporary appropriations for the upcoming year. So it's a guiding document. By no means is it our actual budget, because we're very conservative in terms of what we predict in expenditures and revenues. And what I mean by that is we estimate that we spend everything that we appropriate, which we know we don't. So we estimate high on the expenditures and we estimate low on the revenues, even though we know probably the revenues will come in higher. So we do that so we're never in a situation where we find ourselves spending more than we're bringing in, because obviously, unlike the federal government, we here at the local level cannot deficit spend. So again, it is a planning document, and we'll talk more about that in July, but I do ask for a motion to set the date and time for the tax budget public hearing.
Are we going to do it right before the meeting or right at 5:30?
Right at 5:30 at the beginning of our next meeting.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item on the agenda is something which I guess as I get older, I'm having issues remembering, but I cannot remember if we actually, and we cannot find in the documentation that we authorized me to sign this agreement. So I wanted to ask the board to ratify my execution of the agreement between Springfield Township and the Green Hills Fire Department to provide first responder and fire and EMS service to a portion of Springfield Township north of the lake and to portions of Winton Woods Park. That is an agreement that we've had in place for many years, and it authorizes us to essentially pay the Village of Green Hills Fire Department an amount, I think, equal to $7,500, I believe it is.
That is correct.
For 1 year, and then we'll revisit that contract at the end of 2020. So with that being said, I would ask a motion to ratify the Township Administrator's execution of the Green Hills Fire Service Agreement.
Chris, one question, is that 7,500, is that what we've been, has that been the
Yeah, that
compensation amount in recent years?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I can tell it's been in force a long time.
Yeah, similar to the Green Hills Fire Agreement, as the board is aware, we have a similar agreement with Colerain Fire Department to provide fire and EMS service to a portion of the township in the northwest portion in the neighborhood of Pleasure Run Farms. We've had that for several years. Previous to Colerain, it was Forest Park. We also have a similar agreement with City of Springdale for an area of Hollydale of Springfield Township. The reason we have these agreements is to allow us to provide fire and EMS service and response time quicker than we can get there to those areas on our own from our 2 existing fire stations. It's just a more economical way to provide first responder service to those areas rather than building a new fire station and manning those stations. It's a way we can provide like service throughout the township at a reduced cost. So with that being said, and looking at, as we look at the 4 corners of the township, we are looking to explore a similar agreement with Colerain as we have in the northwest portion to the southwest portion of the township in the neighborhood of West College Hill to provide advanced life service and first responder service to West College Hill neighborhood. So I would ask the board to authorize the administrator to execute the agreement with Colerain Township Fire Department to provide advanced life support first responder service to the West College Hill area of Springfield Township.
So moved. It also makes it more, they can get there quicker.
Absolutely.
Chris, let me ask you about this.
And it's on a per response basis.
Right, so 10,000 is just,
It's sort of a not to exceed number based on the
Right.
number of runs that we think we anticipate for that area. So it's $350 per response that they make into that neighborhood.
I looked at this, and the only thing is, I think the title's wrong on the contract. It says they're providing it in West College Hill.
It
how
does say West College. We already have the Pleasant Run Farm.
Pleasant Run Farm is already in
This is
place.
for West College Hill.
This is a separate agreement for West
This
College
is for
Hill.
West College Hill. Okay, the way you were talking, I thought
In
you were
addition to
saying
the
this
one,
was
the
going
other
to
one
be
is what
the,
it is.
I'm sorry, never mind. Okay.
Mark says he,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So now at this point, obviously our 2 fire stations can adequately respond to the majority of the township. Now with these agreements, we have equitable response time to what we refer to as the 4 corners of the township. The Hollydale area, which is very difficult for us to get to because of the park. Pleasure Run Farms, obviously in the northwest, now West College Hill in the southwest. And then also in the southeast, we have a sort of, at this point, a gentleman's agreement with the city of Reading to respond into that area of the township as well, just on the other side of 75.
Right.
Edgemont.
Right, exactly. And we do dispatch into these areas.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll go, especially if we can get there first, we'll be the first ones in.
Yeah.
Right.
So generally, we're following behind these neighboring departments, but it just allows them to get there within that critical 3 to 4 minute window that is so important if you're having a serious life-threatening emergency.
Exactly.
Like a fire.
Like a fire or a heart attack or anything else. Moving on to discussion items, as we look at the personnel update, not a ton of activity, but looking in the fire department, we did have the resignation of part-time medic firefighter David Kelsey. And in the police department, we did have a new hire for an administrative aide within the DART agency, and that's Alexis Hines. Her date of hire would be May 26, 2020. And then we did have the retirement of Tony Vitri. I didn't want to butcher that last
I
name.
would have said Viteri.
And he is obviously, this is who Alexis is replacing. He was our DART administrative aide, and his date of retirement was June 9th, 2020. No other activity in any other department. And then with that, I'll turn it over to Kim for community events programs.
Thank you. I just want to make the board aware that on July 6th, the Community Arts Center will reopen. On July 16th and July 30th, we are going to be trying to do our first events in light of the coronavirus. We are doing outdoor movie events, and we are creating 8-foot rings that people can reserve in advance. Their family can reserve a circle, and they'll be completely social distance with 6 feet in between, and those reservations are at no cost.
Now, when is
The movies will do,
when's the Arts Center going to open?
I'm sorry?
When are the Arts Center and Grove going to open?
July 6th.
July 6th will be the reopening of the Arts Center, and we're just going to do a soft open, and then our classes will begin on July 13th.
Okay, very good.
What movies are we showing?
July 16th, we're doing Night at the Museum, and July 30th, we're doing E.T. Those movies will start at 9:30 p.m., so we won't be able to have the social activities that we have planned earlier in the evening, but we will have the movies starting at 9:30, and they'll probably go until about 11.
Is this rain or shine?
Nope, it's only if it's raining. No, it's only if shine. If we have rain, we have a rain date that is exactly the next day on the Friday following.
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. Strange times to be trying to put on an event, but you guys are doing a good job trying to come up and accommodate the
I'm
requirements.
actually happy with our accommodation. I think it'll work out well.
Good, good. The only other item I have is obviously the board has copies of all the departmental activity reports, and unless you have any questions regarding those, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Next, under resolutions, we'll move on to resolution number 49, 2020, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 505.87, at various listed properties within Springfield Township, and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, under the agenda, we have old business. Is there any old business before the board?
Not for me, Joe.
None for me.
We have new business. Is there any new business before the board?
I do not.
Then we come to citizens' participation. If there's anyone here that would like to address the board, we would ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address. Ma'am, do you have a question or?
Yes, first of all, this is my first time coming, so this is the meeting, like for the residents to stay in Springfield Township?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, because
Yes.
I'm just shocked that nobody is here.
I think we
Well-
normally have more people, but since COVID-19,
Okay.
People have been staying away.
Okay. I know I
So
have.
I need your name and address.
Okay, I'm sorry. My name is Gloria Johnson Keys, and I reside at 1104 Graceland Court.
Thank you.
And the first thing I want to talk about, the issue where I live at, I did call, and I've been following up. Since I lived at that residence, I've only saw a street sweeper twice in the area. And I've been living over there for a while. And then I have a neighbor that's been living there for 34 years, and she said she never seen a street sweeper in the area. So I do want to bank on that. And then it's some other things that's going on in the neighborhood. Like, for instance, I had an opportunity to walk in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood is becoming a little bit blighted. We have people that take the trash out, and the trash, you get up in the morning. And I don't want to see that, and I don't think the other people that reside in that area would like to see that as well. Trash is everywhere. When they do pick up the trash, trash is everywhere. And then the biggest thing that I have, and I don't want to keep driving up and down the road, we have potholes that needs to be addressed, which is very bad. And then 2, 3, 4, I noticed that you guys no longer cut down the trees because we had to have the liberty to have the tree cut in front of our yard as well. So when did you guys stop doing that?
Well, if I may respond to some of these, I guess let's first take the last one, because that's probably the one I can remember first. I might have to ask you to repeat some of them. Regarding the tree issue, years ago, we did cut down dead and decaying trees that were in the right-of-way, meaning the area between the street and the sidewalk. Since then, the board has passed a resolution which requires that to be the responsibility of the property owner. Because the public, meaning the township, did not plant the tree, and because we don't necessarily prevent the planting of trees in the right-of-way, we didn't feel like, or the board at the time did not feel like should be at the taxpayer's expense in order to remove a tree that the public never planted. So no differently than, a tree that's planted on your private property that we didn't plant, we were not responsible for maintaining that tree. So it's similar idea that if the tree was planted in the right-of-way that the township didn't plant it, why should the taxpayers of Springfield Township pay to have that tree removed? That was the line of thinking. And it's not unlike a lot of communities do. Now, if a tree were to fall, or if a tree presents a serious public health hazard, then we will come in and take an emergency step to have that tree either trimmed or removed. But in general, the maintenance of that tree, the removal of that tree is the responsibility of the property owner.
Okay, for instance, because I didn't know that, so I just want to back a little bit, because the tree that was in front of our house, it was, like you said, it was damaged, it was breaking off, it would break off into the middle of the street, so that was causing the hazards. We'll get up in the morning and limbs, the
Sure.
big branches, was,
Right.
all over the front of the sidewalk. So
Right.
wouldn't that be beneficial for you, instead of us had to have it cut down, would you say that followed the guidelines that you just explained to me?
Well, I guess what I was referring to more is if a tree were to actually fall in the right-of-way, we will come out and remove it from the right-of-way to clear the access for pedestrians on the sidewalk as well as vehicular traffic on the road. But if we come out and a tree is dead or it's dying, no, we will notify the property owner that it's your responsibility to remove that tree. We're only going to do it in emergency situations.
Okay,
So-
so what do you consider as emergency?
If the tree were to fall, or if the parcel of the tree fell over the sidewalk or the street.
Okay, well, we did, that occurred plenty of times with this tree that we had in front of our yard. But my husband and one of the neighbors had to pick up the branch. They were like in the street, the sidewalks, and I'm not talking about little bitty limbs, I'm talking about big limbs. So that would have fell up under emergency situation.
Right, we would have removed it off the sidewalk. We wouldn't have necessarily cut it up and removed it.
No, it didn't need to be cut up. We had big limbs.
Sure.
A whole tree limb in the middle of the street on the sidewalk. It stretched all the way down to the neighbor's house
Yeah.
when we were having a bad storm.
Did someone call us?
My husband did take the liberty of calling, and someone told him that he had to do it himself, and also they had indicated that we are responsible for cutting the tree down. So that's what was told to my husband.
Right, and that is technically true. However, like I said, if we weren't able to get a hold of someone and it was blocking traffic or something of that nature, we will come out and move it if the property owner isn't there to take care of it, because we have a responsibility to ensure the roadway is clear. So we will do it under very specific circumstances, but again, every case is different. So we just have to, it's hard for me to say and make that determination in this isolated incident. But for example, if that tree fell in the road in front of your house, and we couldn't get a hold of you, or you didn't have the means to remove it, we would push it out of the roadway in order to allow vehicles to now safely navigate the street.
Okay, well, again, I just want to address, for future reference, I know, but again, I just want to address that he did call up here and spoke to someone because there was a limb in the street and you couldn't get around it. It was a limb that was blocking our driveway and neighbors, and I'm not talking about little small limbs.
Sure.
And that's what the person had indicated to him.
Okay.
So-
And obviously, I can't speak to that individual
Right, I understand
situation.
what you're saying, so, but in my notes,
Yeah.
I'll just put future reference.
Yeah,
for that.
yeah.
But we took the liberty and had the tree cut down so it couldn't fall on our cars
Right.
or
No,
someone
yeah.
else's car.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
For that.
Going back to some of your original points, if I may, so the initial thing was regarding street sweeping. I can tell you that we contract with an outside vendor for street sweeping, and they make 2 passes through every street in the township once a year. So on Gracewind, you should see a street sweeper, or maybe you don't see it, maybe it's there when you're not there, but our outside vendor, we do have them, we have 400 streets in Springfield Township, and we do pay that vendor to sweep each one of those streets twice a year.
Well, as I indicated, I've only saw 2 since I've been there. And I guess the proper protocol would be if you're going to sweep a street, you would put up no parking signs. Therefore, I have never seen no parking signs.
Yeah, and as you can understand, in order for us to put up no parking signs on 400 streets
No, I'm
is,
just talking about where I live at because, again, the area is becoming a little bit blighted. And like I said, I had the opportunity to walk around the neighborhood in the mornings. I normally go to the park, but I had the opportunity just to look around at the property, the pavement, the streets, some of the sidewalks are crumbling.
no, I understand. If we could, just take one issue at a time.
I know, I'm just telling you what I saw.
No, I understand, but I know you're talking about your area, but what I was referring to as no parking signs is that if we put no parking signs on Gracewind because of street sweeping, then we'd have to put them on the other 399 streets. And it's just not feasible for us to do that. So the best we can do is notify through our social media channels that, hey, we're going to be street sweeping during these weeks. Please make sure to stay out of the roadway so that we can adequately sweep the street. We don't have the ability to put up street sweeping signs ahead of the street sweepers on all 400 streets. So that's why you don't see no parking signs in advance of the street sweeping.
But I'm just saying the logical thing to do would do that because a lot of people where the area is heavily like trash and need to be swept, people park on that side of the street.
Right.
So I don't know if everybody gets that notice, but I'm just simply saying it would be logical if we had something of that nature because again, everyone parks on that side of the street where it's heavily, where the debris, the leaves, the branches and everything.
Sure.
So.
No, I mean, I completely understand what you're saying with it, and I don't necessarily disagree with that would be logical if we had the ability to do it. And it's just the manpower and resources necessary to put up no parking signs ahead of street sweepers on 400 streets just isn't possible. So we're going to have to do our best in order to get the word out in other ways, which we try and do. Not everyone adheres to it. It's the same thing when we have snowplow incidents. When we tell people we're going to come out and plow the snow, a lot of people don't move out of the way, unfortunately, and we don't get to adequately clear the street. It's just the nature of, unfortunately, some of the services we provide, people don't adhere to what we're trying to do. But I do understand your concerns, and we'll try different means in order to get the word out. Some of the potholes, obviously, we can address those. Mike Gould, our Director of Infrastructure, is here tonight, and after the meeting, he'd be happy to talk to you and see what we can do to address a lot of the potholes and sidewalk issues you're referring to, and maybe even see where Gracewind is in terms of the schedule to be repaired. So we can definitely talk about that. And the blighted issue, if you have specific addresses that are houses that have serious issues that you need us to address, we'd be happy to look at those as well, as if you could provide those addresses to you. But after this meeting tomorrow morning, I will notify our inspectors to take a look at Gracewind in that area to see if there's any glaring issues with some property maintenance issues, and we'll address those as soon as we can.
Well, that sounds good. And I just want to go back a little bit. When you said the snow, as far as the snow, when it snows, I can attest and say that they do a very good job. They're up and at it. So I do not have a problem with, the snow, so kudos for that. But as far as, you know, I don't want to wake up and I don't know where you guys live at, but I know you don't want to wake up and see trash and
Sure.
dead tree limbs and stuff like that. I know you don't want to see that.
No.
You know, and I don't want to see that.
I wish everyone in the township was like you, because we wouldn't have this issue if they were. But I do understand what you're saying, and,
We do have issues in different parts of the township that are worse than others. Unfortunately, you know, we can file nuisances against them and go clean it up and charge it against their property. We can do some things. But people that, I mean, we have some areas where people, you know, do it all the time, and, you know, you're just spinning your wheels trying to get them to.
Yeah, but, I mean, people have to take the initiative to say something, because I'm a proud homeowner, and I would like to see my, you know, I would like to see my area clean, and I have seen people come in the area. The grass is this high. I know my girlfriend, she stays in Forest Park. She said what they do, and my mother stays in, you know, the Hamilton County, Cincinnati, but they do come around and they check. For instance, it was a neighbor. I guess he was renting his property out, and the grass was so high, so his bill was like $400.
we do the same thing.
Well, I can't tell over there where we live at.
You know, just.
Do you need me, God, do you need me to walk around and give you the addresses and say, look, this grass has been this high?
Yes, that'd be
Because, I mean, this is, to me, I take pride in where I
Yeah,
live.
it would be helpful if you were to provide us with those addresses. It just saves us time. We have 2 inspectors to cover the 17 square miles and 15,000 properties in Springfield Township. So if residents that are as concerned as you, that I wish everyone was, if they would just provide us with those addresses, absolutely allow us to get a jump start on those properties and get them taken care of even quicker. Just tonight, we passed a nuisance resolution, which is going to.
27 of them. We have 27 nuisance properties.
Last month, we had over 100.
Yeah.
Well, how can I get a copy of that? Is there, because I came in when you were, I think that was you, Dan.
Yeah, I was doing the fiscal report. Do we have
And
copies
I
printed
put
out there?
nuisance, but I didn't get everything.
I'm looking at the list. There isn't anything on Graceland
Yeah, I
for
was
this
looking at
meeting,
it too.
but,
But they'll bring in, like metal wind cords. Tassie looks pretty good.
Yeah.
As you go down, that's Madeline Circle. For instance, I don't know, I know they're allowed to do it in Florida, but they have people to park their cars up on the grass.
They're not supposed to do that.
So I didn't know if,
Any nuisances that you report to us, we will have somebody go look at it and either tell them to move their car or go cut their grass if we have to. Now, we have to go by specific law, and we can't just go out and cut it because you call today, tomorrow, but we have to give them notice and go through a process. But ultimately, we will cut it, and that bill will be added to their property taxes.
I
So
can tell you, because of the state law we have to follow before we can legally enter onto private property and cut the grass, it takes 30 to 40 days.
well, the guy that stayed down the street from my mom, they gave him, he said he got like 4 or 5 notices.
Yeah.
And then he asked me, why didn't I call him? And I said, well, you don't even talk to your neighbors. You never introduced yourself, so how would I, tell you?
Sure.
That, so I know they are very lenient with that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you could in the future, if you just want to, and I know Kathleen after this meeting can take your information, and she'd be happy to give you the information you need in order to, the email address or the phone number. If you see a property, call it in. We'll get on the list and we'll send out a
I'm
inspector.
not gonna be that ladylike, but like I said, I don't mind doing it.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but, I have seen some properties that really went down, like at the end of my street. And again, I wanted to ask this question as well. On several properties, there's like 5 or 6 like junked or abandoned cars. I have noticed that. And then at the other end of the cul-de-sac is really beginning to become blighted. I forgot their names, but I know you guys, everyone knows them. They say at the end of Graceland Court, and their house was caught on fire.
Mr. Gould is acting like he knows exactly what you're referring to.
Well, yeah, I'm very familiar with the property. I was just there today. I am, yes, yeah, it's the Kramer family.
Yes,
I was there today. I'm actually meeting with the property owner early tomorrow morning. If you have some availability, since you're so close, I can bring you up to speed either tonight or tomorrow morning and share with you the properties that we wrote up today. I did a ride-along with one of our nuisance inspectors for high grass and trash. That property that did, the Kramer property, we stopped there. I'm going to discuss with the property owner. We would like to see her clean it up herself, but we're at a point now where the board's ready. More likely it's going to have to take action. So more information to come, but I do want you to know that we're doing our due diligence to clean up your neighborhood. We've already taken action that you'll probably see in future resolutions if the property owner doesn't bring things into compliance. But I can review that with you tonight or tomorrow.
okay, that sounds good. But again, with the Kramer family, because I do know them, and they've been trying to get them out, as you know, and they cannot remove these people from the neighborhood at all. So everyone on the street thought it was a fire, so I don't care, hurricane, whatever, you just cannot remove these people from the property. So I don't know what it's gonna take, maybe another 10 years or so, seriously, because you can even ask him, everything has went on down there, and no one can seem to remove them from the property, am I correct?
I can't speak to removing them, but we'll obviously take action to clean up the property.
And our law director is kind of guiding us in maybe declaring the property a dangerous property where the house could be removed. That's a possibility down the road. There are certain actions, certain steps that would have to be taken. Negligence on the property owner's side. So there are some things that we can do, but those details will have to be worked out. I just want you to know that we're exploring every option possible legally.
I forgot her name. She sits on, I think, the board of trustees, but I was speaking with her, and they were trying to get them to clean up the property because they had a lot of vehicles and vans and sandwich trucks and food trucks and things like that. And she was trying, but
You talking about Gwen McFarland used to be on the board?
yes, and she said they've been trying for years, so.
It's definitely, state law makes us do things in a process that would
It
scare the
has
heck
a
out of you.
Process, protocol, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But, I mean, if, like I said, the house was caught on fire and the property, I started to take a picture, but I'm quite sure you all have seen the property.
Like you said, he was just there today, so we're working on it.
And it, you know, the fire, the tragic fire was
Yep.
on the news.
Yeah.
So, again, these are the things that I want to address. We went over, okay, about the vehicles being parked on the
Yep.
grass. I know you could do that in Florida, but you can't do it here, am I correct?
I don't know about if you can do it in Florida, but I know you can't do it here.
That's how they do it in Florida. You can park, so I just thought maybe, you know.
No, you can't do it here.
And then another issue I would like to address are the vicious dogs in the area. Last Friday, my neighbor and I were walking, and on the way coming up, is that Madeline Circle? A dog jumped out on us. It was a Rottweiler, and he was loose, and he jumped out on my neighbor and I. So we addressed the issues with the homeowners. We said, we don't know how long you've been living around here, blah, blah. You know, and my neighbor said that she was gonna call on them. They have like 3, and the one got to lose. Thank God it was only one got to lose. Before that, it was a call about a pit bull last week that got to lose. Came around the Graceland Court. My husband, he called the police. The dog attacked a neighbor's dog, but there is 2 pit bulls in the neighborhood, and one, and I'm quite sure you all are aware of this, where the dog had viciously attacked the mailman in our area. So we have 2 pit bulls running around the neighborhood, and that's why I really came, because I don't have any little kids, but I think about the other little kids in the area that can be outside playing and what have you. And this is something that we really, really need to address.
Well, if you ever see a dog loose, call the police, obviously we'll come out.
My husband just did that.
Yeah, but as far as, we tried to have a vicious dog ordinance at one time where we prohibited certain breeds of dogs. It was declared unconstitutional by the state, and we were unable to enforce that any longer. So now we have a menacing dog resolution. So there's certain criteria that a dog would have to meet. It doesn't allow us to necessarily remove the dog per se, but it requires the property owner to do certain things in order to secure the animal. So if you do see an animal that you have concern about, let the police department know. We'll check into it and see what we can do to prevent it from getting loose any further.
And that's what I wanted to address. Again, my husband did call police.
Sure.
The police supposedly went to the neighbor's
Good.
house, and the neighbor didn't know what the dog was.
Okay.
So I'm not saying put the dog down or anything like that. Just make it safe
Yep.
for the people in
Yep.
the area to walk. And, so the kids can play. I mean,
Just
kids have-
always, if you see it, always call us.
Okay, but if I see it and I don't know who it belongs to.
Doesn't matter, we'll figure it out.
Police will come to the neighborhood and try to see
We'll
it.
find the dog, we'll figure it out.
If we can't find the owner for the dog, then we will seize the dog and call the SPCA. They have a couple different means of identifying the owners. So if we don't know who the owner is, that doesn't matter. We'll still take the dog for the safety of everybody and on the public.
Yeah, that was a big issue, again, last week. So those are the things that I wanted to address for now.
Okay?
Maybe next month when I come back, it may be more things, but.
Or less things.
Hopefully we check some of those off the list.
I hope you guys do. I said if I have to type out letters and put them on doors and have people come up here, because, again, who wants to live in a blighted neighborhood?
Sure.
And hopefully things will get done, especially seriously about the street sweeper. Hopefully, do you think that they will be around before the next meeting next month?
What's the schedule of the street sweeping like?
Program is currently ongoing. I'll talk to you after this. We'll make
Okay.
arrangements. We'll make sure.
Okay.
They have not made it to your street, so I will make sure. We'll communicate. We're very accessible, so.
And don't be afraid to call.
Oh, I'm not afraid to call. I spoke with Kathy today, and I
Okay.
followed up. I don't know if Kathy's here.
No, she's not.
Okay, yeah, I
But
spoke
we're
to.
happy to hear from concerned neighbors about a bevy of issues. So if there's any, don't think, well, geez, I don't want to call somebody again. Go ahead.
Don't wait for once a month. If just
Okay,
call us in between, because the only thing we're doing by waiting to come here is delaying our response. So if you see something we need to deal with, call us or come to the office. Don't think you have to wait for the next board meeting a month from now, because then, it delays us taking care of the issue.
okay.
Okay?
We're happy to have you.
But my question was, do you think before the next meeting, the street will, you said we'll talk?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, what about we touched base a little bit on the streets, the pavement.
He's your guy.
He's the guy for that too. Okay, the garbage, trash.
That's
a tough one.
Oh, you do everything, huh? Okay.
Now, the chief would beg to differ, but he does a lot.
Okay, the grass, the cars,
The cars is,
okay, would be you. Okay.
all you have to do is give us the addresses and we'll take care of the rest.
Okay, well, I wish I would have known that today. But I did get a car that was driving in my area, and it just threw trash out the window.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, and that just makes me so mad,
ridiculous.
so, yeah, so, okay. And again, we did touch base, and I asked, but no one ever gave me the answer, about the nuisance. Is there some kind of way I can get a list, or do I go online, or how? would I
Yeah.
do that?
We can send you the nuisance resolution,
Okay, that'll be good. Email or,
however you want it.
okay, would I get my email?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, okay. Okay, those are the things I want to address for now, so.
Okay? Thanks for coming.
Okay.
We appreciate you coming.
It will be here in when we're done with this conversation.
Okay, then I'll get the information that I need. and
Okay.
Then I can take this to some of the neighbors, and
Okay.
perhaps I can have them come back.
And again, I don't want to waste your time or your neighbor's time. You're free to come to these meetings. I have no issue with you coming. The problem is though, if you wait, then we're just delaying the response. So if you don't feel like you have to come to these meetings. Just call any one of us, because what's going to happen when you come to these meetings, these three are going to look at us and say, take care of that. But if we cut them out and you and I and us just talk and deal with the issues, we can get them done much faster.
I mean, yes, I don't mind calling, I'm gonna explain everything to them, the steps to take.
Yep.
But I think, we should be more active in our community, that's what I was.
Sure.
asking.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
because I feel bad, this is my first time really.
Don't feel bad. People generally don't come unless something's generally affecting them personally anyway, so.
And you're welcome to come whenever you like.
Yep.
Even if you get all your stuff taken care of during the week, you're welcome to come.
Even if you just want to come back and tell us how a great job we're doing, we're fine with that.
Good, you know what, that's good, I like to hear that. Good job. Job well done, okay, that sounds good.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. It appearing there's no one else for citizens' participation, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks.